This is a production of kmmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show... Are you someone who knows a woman? Are you someone who knows what March is for a woman? I kind of think probably not. So we're going to enlighten you today. We've got a great show for you. I've got three really beautiful women that are going to be talking about March being Women's Month and women in business and all of that. And we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But first, Eric, how are you?
Hey, good afternoon, Kevin. I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Did you know that March is Women's Month?
You know, I did know that, but I think every month should be Women's Month.
Oh, you politically correct savage, you! I tell you, you know how to do it. I don't know how to do that anymore, but it's great. By the way, the thing that you gave me the other day, I don't want to take the time up to, but on Monday, I'm going to go down that story road because I've done some research on what you gave me and that game you gave me and stuff. So
oh, fantastic.
yeah, so we're going to cover that on Monday. It really is a kind of a fun story that spans 20 years in the making. So
yeah, that's right.
So we'll talk about that on Monday. But
for
first,
people that are entirely confused, tune in on Monday, and then they'll get the answers too.
We'll clear up your confusion on Monday, maybe. I don't know. But speaking of, no, I can't say speaking of confusion. I was going to say anyway. We are joined.
Masterful segue as always, sir.
Yeah, wasn't that good? You'd think I was a professional or something. But joining us today is Holly Berry. Holly, how are you? And I know that you know that I'm not a professional, but it's great to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me on the show today. I'm excited about it. We got some awesome guests coming up.
We do indeed. And that's one of the reasons why you're here is that you be a woman in business. And you actually are a couple of them. And you have a couple of businesses, that is, and that you're working with. And March 8th is Women in Business Day, I do believe. Am I correct in that?
That would be a good one to pull Amy and Nancy in on, since they're like on top of all the dates. I know the whole month is related as well.
Since I can't pronounce their website and what they do, I'll let you introduce them.
Yeah, so Nancy and Amy, or Amy and Nancy, they go by the royal we to make it easier for everyone, are the founders of the Passionistas Project that specifically helps women in business. They have like a subscription where you can get boxed gift sets of the gifts that are produced or made or facilitated by women-owned businesses, as well as a podcast, as well as I think a few other cool endeavors that they're working on. I'll let them decide what all they want to talk about, but they are just amazing and a joy and full of awesome stories.
I'm also taken with the fact that they have interviewed some of the most dynamic and important people. Well, important from the standpoint of show business and that sort of thing. But they've done some, and we talked about that on one of the shows that they were on. So we'll kind of bypass that because we want to talk about women in business and this month and everything that's going on. So
yeah, if any of our awesome, amazing listeners that are here right now want to hear some of the other shows, if you go to our website, positivetalkradio.net, and search for the Passionistas on there, or even the word Passionista, you'll be able to pull up all the old episodes. We'll go over the spelling here when we get them in the room.
All righty. Well, welcome, ladies. Come on in the room.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Well, hold on. I got to do this first.
Now I feel like I'm in the room. Thank you.
Yes. You've crossed. We've opened the curtain, and you're now sitting on the chair next to Holly, who's well, she can't be Johnny Carson. Maybe she could be Joan Rivers. There you are.
I feel a little Rupert Pupkin in his basement, if anybody knows what that reference is.
So welcome to the show, ladies. How are you?
Thank you. We are wonderful. We're glad to be back. We love being on this show.
Well, thank you very much. I do have to ask you, though, I'm woefully unprepared to talk about Women's Month of March because I have no idea where that came from, how it is, how big of a deal it's becoming, any of those things. So could you enlighten a poor knuckle dragging man like myself?
Sure. Well, March is Women's History Month. I don't actually know when it started and how long it's been going on for, but it's just all about honoring the women who have come before us and paved the way for as far as we have come, and exploring how much further we need to go. So that's the whole month of March, and then next Wednesday is International Women's Day. And that's another day to celebrate women in general. And we specifically are holding an event for 3 days next week, the 7th through the 9th, on Talk Shop Live to celebrate International Women's Day. So it's all about lifting up the women. But I agree with what was it, Eric? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. I agree that every month should be Women's Month, don't you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Of course, most of my favorite people are women. And we've talked a lot about women's issues on this show and stuff like that. But one of the questions that Holly is very good at giving me advice. So she said, Holly, would you read what you wrote? That would be good.
Sure. Yeah, I jumped online and did research so we could help educate our awesome listeners. And Google came up with, in response to the question, how did Women's Month begin? Google said, about Women's History Month. Women's History Month and its origins as a national celebration in 1981 when Congress passed publication L97-28, which authorized and requested the president to proclaim the week beginning March 7th, 1982 as Women's History Week.
Oh, but now it's become a month, which is even better than a week.
Excellent.
And it's not necessarily just all about history anymore, but it sounds like the month of March has a huge overlap with all of those women-y things.
Well, because this came from Congress, I will make the pronouncement that I think that it would be a much better for them to have passed this when the compilation of Congress is 50-50 men and women.
Amen.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
That's when we'll ratify the Equal Rights Amendment.
Yeah.
Which has been waiting to be ratified for a very, very long time.
40 some odd years.
And only needs a few. It only needs, there's a secretary somewhere that needs to put a stamp on it. And once that happens, then there will be an Equal Rights Amendment. But until then, I think we're going to have to wait for that 50-50 Congress, or 51-49.
Which because you guys live longer than we do, if the competition would be much better than a bunch of doddering old. Anyway, I digress. That's and it's really important. We've talked about it a little bit before. I still cannot believe that the equal rights. Isn't this the United States of America? Isn't this where we live? That the Equal Rights Amendment is still sitting on a desk someplace.
It's
and
crazy.
hasn't been passed.
Yeah, the word woman doesn't exist in the Constitution. Just think about that.
Well, you I ain't even going there, Dolly.
Putting that out there. It's International Women's Month. I can say it.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'll tell you, it's unbelievable to me that when you look at history, and we've gone through this when you guys have been here before, that it hasn't even been 100 years yet that women have been allowed to vote.
It's been just over 100.
Just over 100.
That white women have been allowed to vote.
Yes.
Oh, and so what year was that? Was it 20?
It was
1920.
1920.
Oh, very good. So it's been just 100 years, and it's been less than 50 years before you could open your own checking account.
Yeah, it was. I have that exact date. It was. Well, you couldn't get a business loan without a man until 1988.
1988. That's crazy.
You couldn't get a business loan until 1988?
1988. Woman couldn't get a business loan without a man until 1988.
I think right around there is like you couldn't have a credit score. You couldn't, yeah.
Yeah, 1974, banks granted credit cards to women only with their husband's signatures and refused to issue them to unmarried women.
That still blows my mind. Still blows my mind.
I mean, I'll give you an example. This isn't money related, but it is in a way. I used to own my own home. I now live with someone. And when I needed to redo my driveway, this was, let's say 7 or 8 years ago, I called contractors, and I would always say that I lived with somebody, even though I didn't, because I didn't want strange people to know that I lived by myself in this house. So I would say, it's my house. I make all the decisions. I need a bid for the driveway. And I had 4 people bid the job, and I had 2 different men say to me, well, I need to talk to your husband. And I said, well, this is my house and I own it and I make all the decisions. Yeah, I can't give you a bid until I talk to your husband because he's going to have to decide.
Wow. This is California.
On the 21st century, people. 21st century.
In California in the 1910s.
Well, the
2010s, I mean.
And thank you, Holly, for educating me some more. Did you know that the Equal Rights Amendment was first proposed a century ago? It hasn't been added to the U.S. Constitution. The original Equal Rights Amendment was proposed in 1923 by Alice Paul, woman suffrage leader and head of the National Women's Party, and was introduced in Congress that same year. We have been messing around with this for 100 years. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And it is that close. It really is that close. It just needs, it's paperwork at this point. It really is. And it's not getting pushed through. And I had hoped that when we had a female vice president, she would make it a priority. And I'm sad that that hasn't been able to happen. But
well, so
hard not to swallow.
Do we know now? We know how this is done, and it has to be approved by 2/3 of the states, and then it has to go to Congress. And I can't remember what percentage has to approve that, but there's a gentleman who is a senator from Kentucky. I don't know if you know who that is. His name, I'm not going to say his name here because I don't want to get letters, but he's able to keep interesting things like that from hitting the floor of Congress, and so he doesn't have to risk that. His name is Mitch. It rhymes with another letter.
Good old Mitch.
Yeah. And so he has the ability to keep that from going to the floor and getting a vote. And he's been there for a very long time.
Too long, some might say.
Too long.
I'll take the letter.
Almost as long as the ERA has been waiting to be.
Yeah, one would think.
So on a positive note, because that's what we want to talk about here, you're doing a event coming up next week. What are you doing for 3 days?
So there is a platform called Talk Shop Live, and Talk Shop Live is kind of like a modern day home shopping network, or QVC, where anyone who has a product that they want to sell can have a channel, and you can go live on your channel anytime you want and sell your product. And it's really cool. Amy and I do it a couple times a month. And we've been working with the great people at Talk Shop Live to have a 3-day event to celebrate Women's History Month. And so there's a group of 14 if you count us, women-owned businesses. And I'll be doing shows during the course of those 3 days, and every show will be simulcast on our channel, the Women-Owned Passionistas channel. So if you go to the Women-Owned Passionistas channel and Talk Shop Live from Wednesday night, the 7th, through Thursday morning, the 9th, there will be nonstop shows by women-owned businesses.
And for those who don't remember or didn't participate with one of our past shows, you work with a bunch of women who are all minority business owned or women business owned, and to help them get the word out about their products. Holly mentioned it at the top of the show. I think it's important to repeat here because you've also got a program or a box and of things that you sell based upon the people that you have in your group? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we started the Passionistas Project as a podcast. So the podcast, we interview women from all backgrounds, not just business owners, but thought leaders, activists, artists, actresses, anybody. And women who are passionate about what they do. And so we interview them to inspire other women to follow their passions. And while we were doing the podcast, we started to meet all these women who have really cool products. And, you know, women-owned businesses just don't get the same funding. They don't get the same marketing platforms. They're not in the boys club where they're making deals in a way that men have an opportunity to make deals. So we decided that we would start a subscription box. It's a quarterly box. Every product in there is from a woman-owned business. And we do written interviews with each of them so that you learn about the woman behind the product. So everybody in our community has told us that they feel more connected to the woman and are more inspired to buy their products because they know something about her. And our mission, you know, that has grown now into having a directory on our website that's all women-owned businesses or women who have services like life coaches or accountants, you know, all kinds of, you know, tarot card readers. So we have this directory now, and our mission is to get people to buy women-owned if you can. So if you come to the Passionistas Project, I need a gift for somebody, I don't know what to get, come to the Passionistas Project, you know, guaranteed they're a woman-owned business, and we want to circulate the money in our community of women first and foremost. So we encourage everybody in the community to think about the other women first before they go to Amazon or even down the street to their local store, and make sure that they're buying women-owned. And we're building a microeconomy of women because of that.
We are sitting in Seattle as we speak, and we are on drive time on a Wednesday afternoon. And so there are lots of women-owned business owners that may be sitting in traffic, not going anywhere very quickly in Seattle this time of day. So if somebody wanted to reach you to join your program and to do what you're doing and to help you and feel passionate about your project. It's a running joke now because I cannot say anyway. Ollie,
Passionistas. Passionistas, the Passionista Passionistas is spelled Passionistas.
Can they go find you by going to their website? Going to your website?
Yes.
Yes, they can. Yeah. They can sign up for our mailing list there. It links out to all our social media. We are most active really on LinkedIn and Instagram, but we're also on Facebook and Twitter for now. And yeah, there are lots of ways you can reach us, or come to Talk Shop Live next week, and you can comment there while we're live on our shows and connect with us there too.
I have to tell you, every time that we talk, I learn something, number one, and I learned something today, but I also get a little angry at some of the things that I hear, like one of the shows that we did talking about disabled women and their businesses and the struggles that they have, and the fact that some people get paid as little in this country, as little as 22 cents an hour. And I'm so glad that you guys, yes, that's right, I said 22 cents an hour. Well, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's called sub minimum wage, and it's legal in a number of states to pay people with disabilities that, because it's viewed as doing people a favor to be giving them a job. So why would you have to pay them a fair wage if you're doing them a favor? And it's completely horrible and needs to change. It's changed in some states over time, but there's still, I want to say 13 or 15 states where it's still legal, and it needs to stop.
It's a huge part of the reason why the majority of people living with disabilities live in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Which is in the greatest country in the world, and that is so sad.
Yeah.
And most people in their lifetime will either themselves become disabled or have a loved one who becomes disabled, because it's inevitable with old age that most people develop a disability at some point. So even if for selfish reasons you may become disabled yourself, it's worth joining the fight to change this law.
Exactly. I know somebody that I live with personally who is disabled. Of course, I live alone, so I guess that kind of eliminates a lot of competition there. But who could that possibly be? Which is why we love to have you guys on. And Holly's a big supporter of yours, and I know that she loves it. She loves to have you on. Holly, did you want something? Did you want to contribute?
Would you like me to give away a prize or something?
Yeah.
First of all, I want people to know, since you're in the Seattle market, if you are looking for a unbelievably beautiful floral design done by a very, very talented artist. She is not a typical floral designer. My ex-wife was that for a long time, and her work was not nearly as good as what A Natural Design offers. So if you live in the
Bothell, Kenmore, Woodinville, Kirkland, kind of like the northeast side. naturaldesign.com can go outside of that. You just got to contact them to have them lift the restrictions on the website.
And her company is thriving and is doing great. And I would like anybody that is here, our listener audience, to support A Natural Design here in town. Holly knows the owner intimately.
Can I say something about A Natural Design too? A Natural Design makes these insanely beautiful wings that are made of floral arrangements that, if I were a bride, and I am not, I would be buying a pair and I would be wearing it in all of my bridal pictures and probably walking down the aisle, because they are going to become this big sensation. Like Lady Gaga is going to wear them on stage someday, and then you're not going to be able to afford them or get your hands on them. So all the brides out there, now is the time to contact A Natural Designs and get your wings.
I had no idea. You're a wing creator, are you?
Yeah, they're stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, we infused botanicals with costume wings. And so we overlaid flowers and greenery and pampas grass. And so it looks really cool. It looks like it's all one thing. You wouldn't even know that it didn't just come out of a factory that way. But yeah, they're pretty cool.
Totally cool. They're gonna be huge. They're just the right stylist has to see them, and then.
Yep.
Well, so if you are a bride to be, now we're coming up on that time of year.
Right, bridal season.
Yep, May, June, July, in that area. And so if you're planning on being a bride, you might as well fly to the place and get some wings.
Or if you're going to be a guest at a wedding and you don't like the bride, get a pair. Totally
Major.
show her up. It's a side suggestion. I mean, women support women. I'm sorry, but I want someone to wear these wings, whatever.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, we recently expanded. So we actually have a warehouse space now too. And I'm looking to hire like on-call part-time work for people that are interested in working with flowers as well. So if there's people out there listening and they know someone in that general northeast side area, and especially like moms that want something part-time that is like low commitment, low stress, or, students that just need to pick up something, it's actually a lot of fun.
I couldn't imagine working for a nicer person.
Yeah.
Oh, I can.
Oh, yeah. He gets the executive producer / consultant honesty out of me.
Yes, I do. But I'm nicer than she is. Come on. I'm kidding. She is really I'm really talented, and she works with me, and so you can't have her other than the floral part of her. But she's really great. So, in all seriousness, she also runs a commercial during the show. But make sure that you go to A Natural Design, and if you're looking at this on StreamYard or YouTube, you will be able to see some of her work here in about 2 minutes, because she has a commercial running. So
That's so kind of you, all of you. Thank you so much. I do want to say too, for people listening, that we do have gifts and collections. So the print on demand drop ship companies that I can design with online, there's a couple of them where I've actually started populating it with gifts, and you can ship that almost worldwide now between the two main ones. And so there's tabs on the website for that too. It doesn't just have to be a local gift.
And they're beautiful. I've seen those. They're beautiful.
Yes.
Well, and of course, I'm a guy. What do you want from us? We're not very smart. If we were, we would promote women a lot more than we do.
I saw this hilarious meme, and it was like, came out on February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, and it was this huge banner behind a counter at a florist shop, and it had a little vase arrangement, a medium-sized vase arrangement, and a big vase size arrangement. And at the top it said, like, size purchase guidance chart, and at the bottom it said, "How mad is she?"
Well, I have to tell you, I was in the restaurant business for many, many years. And one of the things you do when you're in the restaurant business on Valentine's Day is you start taking reservations weeks in advance.
Mhm.
You have to make sure you have everybody in place, ready to go. It gets busy starting at 3:00 in the afternoon for dinner and goes all the way to 11:00 or midnight. And take it from me, if you are, and I was working 60, 65 hours a week at the time, if you are so busy that you haven't got time to go get some flowers for your wife and have them delivered, you need to call A Natural Design, because that would have saved my butt a bunch of times, because she was ready to kill me several times.
We've gotten those calls. We've gotten text messages, and it's like, "It's Mother's Day in 2 days. I just realized I'm taking my wife to this restaurant. Can you deliver to this restaurant?" It's like, "Yep, no problem."
The other thing that just dawned on me would be, if you are someone who works for a women-owned business, next Wednesday would be a perfect day for you to celebrate her and the business by sending a bouquet of flowers to
Mhm.
have it delivered to her place. Would that be a good idea?
There you go.
Brilliant.
That's a great idea.
Love it.
Yeah.
Very good. By the way, Holly, we're going to do this. This will be fun. You're going to take us out to break, okay? And first of all, I want you to tell us who we're talking to, and then we're going to go take us to break, and then we'll be right back after that. So take it away, Holly.
All right, you're listening to Positive Talk Radio. We have Amy and Nancy with us today from the Passionistas Project, and we can't wait to tell you more about them right after this.
Hey there. I'm excited that you're listening right now, and if you like what we're doing here, you're going to love positivetalkradio.net. On positivetalkradio.net, each show, which is recorded live, is packed with positive information, with real people discussing real issues and positive solutions that can work for everyone. I hope that you'll join us on positivetalkradio.net and listen to all 340 plus shows. I think it's worth your time. But then, that's just me. That's positivetalkradio.net, your home for great progressive positive podcasts.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal. anaturaldesign.com, at your fingertips today.
Hey, my friend. I'd really like to thank you for listening to the show today. As you may know, I started Positive Talk Radio way back in 2003. We were one of the first shows on KKNW. For 11 months, I was fortunate to be part of many lives, making a positive difference with great interviews and discussions, creating new thoughts and ideas. Sadly, for financial reasons, I had to terminate the show. Well, it took 18 years, but we're back better than ever. And not only on KKNW Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but also podcasting with several inspiring channels with the same driving passion as the original. Please visit kmmedia.pro for complete information about all of these shows. In addition, if you feel called to keep positive programming on the air, you can join us by sponsoring the show and aligning yourself with our mission, which is nothing short of saving the planet and each other. Again, that's kmmedia.pro. I'll see you there. And welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. My name is Kevin McDonald. I used to be the host of this program, and now it's Holly Berry, because she can pronounce the guests that we have their website. So, Ms. Berry, would you like to continue and just take the thing over, would you please?
The Passionistas Project.com. We're here today with Amy and Nancy, and they have wonderful insights, resources, and connections to help for this month. This whole month is celebrating women, women's businesses, women's rights, and there's a specific day as well coming up.
I love the passion that you guys have. So I can say that part. I love the passion that you guys have for what you do. How did it happen? Where did you guys come from? It's like you're a bolt of fresh air, a bolt of lightning.
Amy, you take it.
You want me to take it? Well, I mean, the long story is we came from a really inclusive and creative family back in Braintree, Massachusetts, where we were born. And our parents met in art school. Our dad had his own graphic design advertising agency. He did all the in-store advertising for Foster Grant sunglasses. And our mom, who originally was going to be an art teacher, ended up having 5 kids and became a stay-at-home mom, God bless her, and a substitute teacher at our school, and ultimately went and worked with our dad and helped him run his business. So our house was always filled with art and music and television and people of all ethnicities and sexual orientations, and everybody was welcome. And so I think we always have had that instilled in us. And then we went on our own career paths. Nancy had her own graphic design business and theater company, and I worked for Warner Brothers doing visual effects and post-production on about 250 movies, including the early Harry Potter movies and the Matrixes. And when we came back together, we did a bunch of different things. And ultimately, it was the Me Too movement and the election of a certain president that woke us up one day. And we thought, we've been doing positive pop culture, but we need to really be doing something really significant right now to support women. And in doing that, we started to really tap into what was going on in various communities of marginalized women. And once our eyes were open to that more, that became a real passion. So our annual summit is a women's equality summit where we give the stage to women from marginalized communities to talk about the issues that really matter to them, because a lot of people talk about marginalized communities, but they don't actually let people from marginalized communities speak for themselves. So I credit our passion for, equal rights and for justice to our parents, who were just really kind, loving, wonderful, supportive people.
And you guys work together and you're sisters, and you actually even like each other. Isn't that cool?
We love each other. We're best friends, Kevin. We've been best friends since the day Amy was born. The family lore is that I asked for her to be born when I was going to kindergarten because I didn't want my mother to be lonely when I went to school. So I asked for a baby sister, and I got Amy, and she's been my best friend ever since.
That's a cool story all by itself.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I think it's awesome. You guys are what we need, and your family and the closeness of your family and how they work together in a progressive way. That tells a lot. And that's a generational thing. And I'm glad that they did that for you, because now you can carry it forward, and you are.
Well, and we have 3 other amazing siblings too. Our sister actually lives in Vancouver, Washington. She's an independent filmmaker, Grammy-nominated, Emmy-winning independent filmmaker. Our sister, who lives here, is in California with us, is a crochet artist, really talented. Our brother's back in Massachusetts, and he was a musician for years, and now he's an attorney. So he opened for David Bowie when he was a musician, and he brought a case in front of the Supreme Court as an attorney. So we're the weak links in the family chain. They're the superstars.
Holly?
I think it's fun that she actually asked for Amy, because I think when an older sibling asks for a younger sibling, like, you almost just, you're like destined to like them. Like, I did that with my mom and my little brother. I was like, I want a little brother, and got a little brother, and gosh darn it, even when he's a little snot sometimes, it's like, but I know you're so cute even as an adult.
Yeah.
I'll have to remember that and tell your brother the next time I see him. You're a nice little snot sometimes. It's really is important, and the work that you guys are doing is so important that the word gets out there about all the work that you're doing to make equality should this is 2023. I keep having to remind myself, because this should be something that should have been a no-brainer. This should have gone by the wayside a long time ago. I am just stunned by the number of quality people, quality women that are out there that do not get the opportunity that others might, and we are, as a society, wasting a great deal of brain power, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's exciting that there's these communities starting to come together now. That's really cool. Like, we're in a metropolitan big city area, because we're near Seattle, but you can find like mentor groups where it's all specifically women, and like big brothers, big sisters, and stuff like that. So that's the powerful areas to connect into those micro communities. And because of the power of the internet, you also have the ability to reach communities, even if you're in a small place where one doesn't exist. You can reach beyond that geographically and still connect to those larger communities.
And what we're doing, we have some exciting plans coming up for 2023 that we're working on, and we're not ready to really announce them yet. But what we're really doing is harnessing those micro communities that Holly is talking about, and trying to bring them all together, because they all have their little niches. But if we all come together as one giant community of micro communities, think of how powerful and strong we can be. So we are connecting with a lot of those women's groups and trying to form a consortium of different women's groups coming together to work together. And so we'll be back to talk to you about those things once we have more details to announce. But it really is about lifting each other up. It's that simple. It's promoting each other, helping each other, supporting each other, and that's how we make change.
Well, I got to tell you, we are on kind of a similar path, because one of the things that I want to do, that I'm working actively to do, is to create a community around Positive Talk Radio, and what we do to help people. As a matter of fact, if you go to Kevin at kmmedia.pro, anybody that's listening, this is anybody, and you type in a name that you think would be great to have as a community of like-minded people that we can get together, I'll pay you $100 finder fee to come up with that name, because that's what we are. I'm dead set on doing this, is to create a community of people that think like we do, like you guys and us, and we can work together to create a better community for everybody, because there are a lot of lonely people out there that don't have people are around them that think the way they do, or they care for them, and so they really would benefit from that. Do you guys think that's a good idea?
I think that's a great idea. And I want to say, I know we talk about women and we joke about men, but it's men like you who are so supportive of what we're all doing and really give us the stage to speak about women's issues and educate yourself and help us learn new things. We're so grateful to you. And so anything we can do to support Positive Talk Radio. Our one suggestion is that the name be pronounceable.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
On that, yeah, no, it's a great idea. Great idea, and we are here for you in any way we can support you.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, what we should do one of these days is, when we get it up and running, we'll have a women's consortium, and we will have you be the keynote speakers. How about that?
We love it.
Love it.
Love it.
And Passionistas. There you go.
Oh,
See,
you did it.
So proud of you.
Passionistasproject.com is where you want to go to find these lovely human beings. It's people like you that quite literally are changing the world, one person at a time.
Yeah. We try.
Yeah. I mean, we're shining the light on the women who are, and we're just part of their story is how I look at it. I don't know about you, Nan.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, that you are leading the way and providing an outlet for people, like for people in business, for people that may not don't know how to begin, don't know how to connect with others, don't know how to network with a group of women, and so you're bringing them all together to do that, and that becomes really, really powerful. Holly, don't you think?
That's the way movements grow, for sure.
Yeah, so that's why I support, and I think okay, I can't say that. I think some. Okay, I'll say some. Some guys wholeheartedly approve of what I know. Holly's got a couple in her life that wholeheartedly approve of what she's doing as a woman, as a business owner, as a human being, and there are lots of us out there. I'd like to think it's not really profitable or it's not something that a lot of guys want to sit around and talk about, I guess. I don't know. What do you think? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think you're right. I think that change is scary for anybody. And, we have a theory that the women, especially the women from marginalized communities that we have come to know, are the strongest, smartest, hardest working women we've ever met. And they have to be, because they have to fight 10 times as hard to get anything done, because they have so many roadblocks put up for them. And I think certain people are afraid of the power that these women will harness once they have an equal playing field. So I think there are a lot of men that are super supportive, and 100, Nancy and I have them in our lives, and we're so grateful for people like you. We're not anti-man at all. We're just trying to make it an even playing field for women. That's all. Literally all we ask. Just let us be on the same starting mark, and then may the best person win from there. But you got to give us an equal shot.
Yeah. Here's a couple of stats for you, Kevin. You want a few stats that'll make you furious?
Oh, good. Just when we're ending the show and I got nowhere to vent.
We got to make sure there's still some time to swing it back up at the end. But yeah, stats are good.
So out of all the venture capital funding that was given out in 2020, 2.3% was given to women-owned businesses. 2.3%.
That much, huh?
97.7% went to men. And when women-owned businesses tried to get loans, the average loan that a woman-owned business received is $59,000. You know the size of an average loan that men receive?
$250,000?
$157,000.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a big difference. But let me tell you a story. You know why I'm so enthusiastic about what you guys do? And I'm talking about women in general. I interviewed a gal. She is a cosmetic. She works with cosmetics. She has her own brand now, and she started out. Her mom gave her $500, so she goes to a shopping center, and the shopping center owner says, "Okay, I'll give you a kiosk." He sticks the kiosk right in front of a lineup of businesses that were closed. All of them were closed around her. And so what did she do? Instead of saying, "Oh, this is crap," she went down to the concession stand where there's a cafe and stuff, and she would solicit customers from there to come back to her kiosk. She started doing really well, and so the business owner, not being a stupid man, he was, after all, he worked with other businesses in the shopping center, and so he moved her next to, guess where? Victoria's Secret, because he knew that she would be help him. Had nothing to do with her. It was that her business was going to help his business and the other businesses around her. And so there are a lot of women that have that passion that are not going to be denied, and I think that's exceptional, and that's the way it should be, but it shouldn't be that hard.
And that woman's name is Kim Roxy, and she's a passionista. We introduced her. We gave her an award last year at our Passionistas Persist Summit. And now Kim Roxy is the first Black-owned business in online at what's the beauty company name on the Nan online? Ulta Beauty. First Black women-owned business on Ulta.com. And she was just nominated for the Home Shopping Network Guest Excellence Award because she debuted on the Home Shopping Network, and she was so amazing that they're going to give her an award for being such a great guest. So she's the next Estee Lauder. She is
a rock star,
unbelievable. So I'm glad that you told her story. She's incredible.
Well, I hate to admit this, but I'd forgotten that they came from you.
I love that they remembered, and I was gonna say something if they didn't, because
oh yeah.
Well,
Passionistas.
You two were sitting there, nodding and smiling, and I was like, "Have I told you the story before?" I have, but by the way, I know that during the commercial that I said we have 340 shows up. That's wrong. We have 440 shows up, and so that's why you'll have to forgive me if I forget. I just remember the stories and some of the heartwarming and great stories and of what people can do, and they're following their heart and their great human spirit, and that's just so cool.
Yeah, we love that. We love that you have connected with some of the women in our community, and how supportive you are of all of us. So it means a lot to us.
Some of my best friends are women, save one. I don't like her anymore, but everybody else I like just fine. No, my ex-wife is fine. Thank you very much. And that's a personal thing. But it really bothers me that women. I had a gal on the other day that is a mom, and she's got a program that she's developing for mothers, and she was telling me that she was worked in the corporate world, and for her daycare situation, it would work for her if she could go to work at 9 and get off at 5. She was going to work at 8:30 and getting off at 4:30. And so she goes to her boss and she says, "Look, for my daycare situation, it's untenable because they close it. These are their hours. This is when they're open and closed. If I can move my time, not cut the hours, not to get special treatment, but if I can just move my time a half hour in the morning and a half hour in the afternoon, I can make it all work." And he said, "I don't think so. I'm not going to give you any special treatment." And it's like, it's not special treatment. It's how you talk to a human, and it's how you be kind to somebody else. That what's that half hour going to cost you? It's not going to cost you a thing. And you can be mean, or you can be kind and empathetic. And that's what, there was a gal that she was a bus driver with me. Now, if you're a bus driver, there's things that women have to deal with. As an example, if she had a baby and she wanted to continue to breastfeed, well, the way the bus schedule works, you don't necessarily get you don't get a break when you were supposed to be able to do some of those things. And she had a hell of a time getting the company to take care of her in the way that needed to be done.
Mhm.
And so eventually they saw the light and are now have provided them, and the union has provided women who are nursing a private place to be able to go so that they can do what they need to do in privacy and feel good about it. And so we can make changes like that in a real positive way, can't we, Holly?
Absolutely.
And we've got we've got just such a short time left in the show.
It
But
went so fast, too fast.
I know. But we're trying to transition into something positive as we leave. So Holly, give us something positive.
There are tons of lists online for how to support women-owned businesses. All you have to do is Google best ways or list of 10 ways to support women-owned businesses. And I love some of the ones that came up that I wouldn't have even thought of. So here's one, and it says, not only can you buy from women-owned businesses, but you can help promote them on social media. So you might not think about like posting on social media, like the place that you got that amazing latte at, that is your shining Instagram photo, but try it. Like if you know that's a women-owned business, you can put the location of where you got that coffee in your social media, and that helps drive traffic to them. You can also support them by donating or investing or sponsoring or offering them your network as well.
Thank you. That's pretty awesome. By the way, for those of you that are in our audience or sitting in traffic and you're fuming because we're talking about women's issues and women get a whole month, and February was Black America Month and they get a whole month. Well, that leaves only 10 for the men in the group. So you've got 10 months, and it's okay to give a month to
10
somebody.
months and centuries.
I would love to see it where everything's like way more equitable, to the point where, women are saying, hey, we need to make a month just for men now. Like if the pendulum swings that far, I would love to see people like us saying, hey, now we got to make sure the men are getting their day too.
Right.
Yeah, like our friend Selene Luna says, like being an activist isn't really fun. It's not like you wake up in the morning, you're like, I want to be an activist. So we're hoping that we all are out of business in a few years and everything is just equal, and we are. I agree with you, Kevin. I think and Holly, I think there's a lot to be positive and optimistic about. And I think we meet women every day who are so supportive of other women, which is an evolution from the kind of dog eat dog business world where women had to fight for the one seat at the table. And now we're really supporting each other and educating the men in our lives. The men in our lives are so much more educated about women's issues and boundaries and all that stuff. And it's not meant to make the world a bummer of a place to live. It's just to make everybody feel comfortable. And men want to be there. Men are marching against the Supreme Court decision and for the, really stepping up on that level for the first time. So we're headed in the right direction. We all just need to keep working hard to get there. And buying from women-owned businesses, come to our Talk Shop Live event next week. And you can buy everything from jewelry to tarot card readings to trips to Guatemala, all in the 3-day period from all these different women-owned businesses. So the opportunities are out there to support women-owned.
Nancy, we have 1 minute left. Tell us what's in your heart.
I just want to reiterate what Amy just said. Please come to our Talk Shop Live next week and celebrate International Women's Day with us. We have 13 amazing women-owned businesses that you can come and support. A couple of them are nonprofits. You can donate to them. And they're just doing amazing work. And Talk Shop Live is a great platform. It's really fun. Amy and I have 4 or 5 shows during the course of the 3 days. So come and see us be goofy. And just thank you all for supporting us. And let's keep lifting each other up.
Thank you, ladies, for being here. We really, really appreciate it. And I just have to say, I have the absolute best time in the world whenever my friend Holly Berry comes on the show with me. She is just a dynamic individual. She keeps me straight. She tries to keep me straight, which not, by the way, that's not an easy thing to do. I had a guy in broadcasting one time said, "You're not a very good employee, are you?" And that's true. So I work very hard at being unconventional, but she puts up with me. I really appreciate it. And Holly, thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to share before we go?
Am I allowed to do the closing, or would that?
Yes, you can. And you can begin at any time that you want.
Be kind to one another because each other is all we've got.
My favorite, I had a guy the other day say, "Did you really make that up?" I did. I really did. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on Friday.